Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 484 based on novel. So let's start. In the northwest part of this planet, there was a mountain range with plenty of spiritual energy. The mountain range was surrounded by a dense jungle. It seemed endless at a glance, and the leaves prevented any sunlight from shining through, causing the area below to be wet year-round. Deep within this jungle stood a long mountain. It was tall, but it was surrounded by fog. This fog made the mountain look blurry. A ray of formation light suddenly came from the mountain and pierced through the fog. This light lasted for several breaths before gradually weakening. There was a cave inside that mountain. This cave was dim and gave off a gloomy feeling. There was a transfer array inside the cave, and the light came from the array. As the light weakened, 3 people walked out. It was the madman and company. The madman blinked as he looked at the cave and murmured, "This king is confused. Damn it, where is this place?" Shuligwa suppressed the excitement in his heart and quickly walked out from the transfer array. He let out dry cough and showed a flattering smile. "King, this is the place. You wait here, I'll go see if that little girl is ready." When the madman heard the words, "little girl," he was no longer confused and his eyes lit up. He clapped his hands and roared, "Ha ha, good. This king wants to see if it is as good as you say. If this king is satisfied, this king will reward you." Liu Jinbei came out of the formation and waved his sleeves to cause a stone chair to fly over. After the madman sat down, he revealed a flattering smile as well and began massaging the madman's shoulders. Liu Jinbei massaged with a lot of effort. His grasp of his strength was very good. This made the madman very comfortable, and the madman closed his eyes to enjoy it. A moment later, Liu Jinbei stopped and stood next to the madman. He then put on a respectful expression, knelt down with his arms extended out, and silently lowered his head. The madman waited for a moment and opened his eyes with a puzzled expression. He looked at Liu Jinbei and stretched his head. "Finished? That fast?" Liu Jinbei didn't move. He kept his pose and said, "King, please give me a reward." The madman was startled for a moment and murmured, "Just a little massage and you want a reward? I won't give you anything. This king's blood is very precious." Back then, that who? Before he finished speaking, Liu Jinbei raised his head and looked at the madman with a serious expression. He said, "King, please give me a reward." The madman became angry. He got up and roared, not giving, I'm not going to give anything." Facing the madman's roar, Liu Jinbei's expression remained normal. He said, "Ever since King came here, everything you've eaten, used, and played with were paid by me, and I used a lot of spirit stones. This king won't give you anything." Although the madman was still roaring, his voice was clearly a lot lower. "In addition, the silver used in the mortal city was obtained by me. I clearly remember all the money used." Liu Jinbei's voice was calm. Not much was spent. It was all you guys talking me into spending." The madman's voice became smaller and smaller. "King has been here for a total of 13 days. And I've spent 730,000 spirit stones and 9,850,000 silver. King, do you want me to list it out in detail?" Liu Jinbei remained calm and gave a detailed report. The madman's eyes widened. His memory was a bit hazy. During these more than 10 days, he felt like he hadn't spent much. It was just that every time he encountered something fun or delicious, he would let Shuligwa and Liu Jinbei get it for him. At this moment, when he heard Liu Jinbei list all the expenses, he began to sweat. Of course, Master has ordered us to take care of King, so this is normal. King is also not a stingy person, you just don't have any spirit stones right now. Perhaps all of King's treasures are with that little red or something." Liu Jinbei changed the topic. "That's right, go find little red, go find little red for it. How can this king be stingy? This king is not stingy at all. It's better you go find Little Red. Little Red has all of this king's possessions." The madman subconsciously wiped away the sweat and nodded. King is a generous person, you won't make me spend all this for nothing. As for the spirit stones and silver, although they were my savings for over 1,000 years, consider it my gift to the king. There is no need to look for Little Red. Liu Jinbiao shook his head and let out a sigh. He no longer spoke but walked to the side. He stared at the stone wall ahead as if he was very sad. When the madman saw Liu Jinbiao like this, he rubbed his nose, feeling his heart ache a bit. He scratched his head before he bit the tip of his finger and squeezed out a drop of his blood to hand to Liu Jinbiao. The madman's heart ached, but he pretended to be magnanimous and said, "You're a good person, like Shuligua. This king is not stingy, this king won't mistreat you." Liu Jinbiao suppressed the excitement in his heart. He accepted the blood without any expression and softly said this thanks. When he acted like this, the madman felt like he owed Liu Jinbiao something. He squeezed out 7 or 8 more drops of blood and gave them all to Liu Jinbiao. Liu Jinbiao's body trembled and his excitement could no longer be hidden. He quickly put them away and bowed at the madman. Just at this moment, Shuligua came out of the cave. He smiled and said, "King, that little girl is ready. How about we go now?" After the madman heard this, he forgot his heartache. He excitedly got up and nodded. Shuligua let out a mischievous smile. He looked at the madman like he was looking at a moving treasure. He and Liu Jinbiao led the madman into the depths of the cave. There was a room inside the cave, and there was a curtain blocking the door. One could see a blurry outline. There seemed to be someone sitting inside. After arriving outside the door, Shuligua revealed a mischievous smile and whispered, "King, that little girl is waiting for you inside, quickly go. Us 2 little ones will guard outside." The madman put on a smug expression and let out a few roars. Just as he was about to enter the room, he turned around to face Shuligua and asked with a solemn expression, "Is it really as fun as you say?" Shuligua patted his chest and nodded. "This little one never lies, King will know when you try it." The madman's eyes became excited and he stepped into the room. At a glance, he saw a young man wearing black sitting not far away. He was very handsome. "Ha ha, little girl, tell this king your name. This king will reward you." The young man frowned and coldly said, "This poor daoist is Fan Huazi." Outside the room, Shuligua rubbed his hands and looked very excited. He smiled at Liu Jinbiao. "Old Liu, your scam is very good. Just the dozen transfer arrays from before got us a lot of blood. Rest assured, according to our agreement, we will split it 7:3. Liu Jinbiao smiled and shook his head. "This is not a scam. This old man has never cheated any madman. They were all people with higher cultivation levels, and they were extremely cunning. Dealing with them required me to set up a scam, and there could be no flaws. As for this madman, his mind is simple. The complex scams from before are useless against him, it would be like playing a harp to a cow. This time this old man used the simplest one. Although the flaw is right there, it is effective." Shuligua laughed and nodded. "We have to seize the time. After this, we still have a few places to go, so we need to end this quickly. We have to do a good job, or else, after that fiend comes back." Shuligua shivered. In fact, he was very afraid. He calculated the time that had passed and crushed a jade. The moment the jade was crushed, the transfer array inside the cave lit up once more. More than 10 cultivators appeared, and they all looked fierce. The leader was a woman and her expression was cold. They charged into the depths of the cave. After meeting up with Shuligua and Liu Jinbiao, both sides smiled. Shuligua walked next to the door and let out a miserable scream. "King, not good, Fa Huazi's Dao partner came." As he spoke, he coughed out a mouthful of essence energy. He looked dispirited and fell to the side. Liu Jinbiao hit his chest with his right hand and coughed out blood. The female cultivator let out a snort. With more than 10 cultivators behind her, she tore the curtain. Inside the curtain, the madman was sitting opposite of Fan Huazi. He stared blankly at the large group of cultivators and was startled. "You? What are you going to do?" "This king." This king, the madman's eyes were filled with fear. He still didn't know why this was happening. Shut up. You guys dare to do this kind of thing? The woman stared coldly at the madman. The other cultivators all stared at him fiercely and filled the room. The madman became anxious and quickly began to explain, We didn't do anything. I only asked him his name. The young man in black sitting across from the madman revealed a sense of shame. He got up and silently walked to the side. Don't try to twist words. Fill these 10 pots with your blood or else I'll kill them first. The female cultivator's eyes were filled with disgust. She waved her sleeves and 10 jade pots appeared before the madman. Then Shuligwa and Liu Jinbia were brought in. Shuligwa had sword stabbed into his body and he let out a weak yet miserable scream. King, don't worry about me, escape. Liu Jinbia was also covered in blood, but when he heard Shuligwa's words, he secretly cursed and immediately let out a miserable scream. King, we were involved because of you. King is righteous, you have to save us. None knew that as they were doing this, a figure with a cold gaze wearing white had appeared behind them. Shuligwa, Liu Jinbia, you two got guts. Very good, very good. These cold words were like a cold wind blowing from behind them. When they entered Liu Jinbia's ears, his pupils shrank and he was frozen on the spot. His mind went blank. He trembled and subconsciously turned around. This caused him to almost lose his wits, and he knelt down. His face was pale and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. This time it was real blood, and it was scared out of him. No matter how good of a scammer he was, he couldn't think of anything. He trembled and wanted to say something, but under Wang Lin's gaze, his mind trembled and he felt like his body was being torn apart. That gaze pierced through his body and origined soul like a sword. It was as if Wang Lin only needed one thought to kill him. That terrifying gaze contained a killing intent that caused Liu Jinbia's scalp to go numb. He was so scared, he became mute and couldn't say a word. He could only kneel and kowtow constantly. Even though his forehead was bleeding, he didn't care. Shuligwa was still proud and was screaming miserably, but when he heard this voice, he trembled. He was very familiar with this voice, very, very familiar. It was the voice of the fiend he feared. The anger and coldness in this voice caused Shuligwa's spirit body to almost dissipate. His mind trembled and his face turned pale. The swords in his body collapsed, and this time he truly looked dispirited. He turned around and saw Wang Lin's cold gaze. This gaze caused him to almost pass out, and his eyes were filled with extreme fear. Master! Shuligwa was frozen for a moment and let out a miserable scream. This sound could shake one's soul, and it completely transmitted his fear. Master, have mercy, Master, listen to me. This matter is not as you see. This matter, after all, Shuligwa had followed Wang Lin for a very long time. Although he was filled with fear, he could still somewhat speak, which was much more than Liu Jinbia could do. Although his voice was trembling, he seemed to want to hug Wang Lin's leg and beg. This sudden change shocked remaining cultivators. The more than 10 vicious cultivators all turned around and looked at Wang Lin. When they saw Wang Lin, they felt the cold eyes penetrate them and their minds rumbled. They all coughed out blood and fear filled their eyes. That woman also turned pale and coughed out blood, forcing her to retreat a few steps. The panic in her eyes reached its limit. She didn't know who this new person was, but the pressure he emitted was almost enough to make her collapse. Even her master and all the powerful cultivators she had met were like mere ants before this person. You. Who are you? Trembling, the female cultivator retreated. Even her words and face became twisted from fear under the pressure. Not only her, but almost everyone felt like they were standing before a storm. This storm was connected with the world and contained the power to destroy all life. They were small before the storm and would die just from touching the storm. The young man in black, Fan Huazi, was standing in the distance. Blood was flowing down from the corner of his pale mouth. However, he looked at Wang Lin with a dull gaze before revealing excitement. He seemed to recognize Wang Lin but couldn't believe it. The madman was the person with the least pressure. The moment he saw Wang Lin, he immediately revealed a wronged expression. Tears appeared in his eyes and he rushed over the crowd toward Wang Lin and began to cry. They bullied me. I clearly didn't do anything, I only asked what that little girl's name was. I really did nothing. Shuligua told me how I could have a lot of fun by doing this and that. But before I could do this and that, they came in. I did nothing. The madman felt wronged and eventually began to cry. Shuligua's heart trembled when he heard this. He didn't dare to move forward under Wang Lin's indifferent gaze. Just as he was about to speak, Wang Lin pointed forward. With this point, Shuligua spat out large amount of spiritual body essence and his body turned almost transparent. Then his body flew back and smashed into the stone wall. There was a flash of restriction light, causing him to let out another miserable scream, as he bounced off. This point had wasted almost 30% of his cultivation, causing his spirit body to almost collapse. That intense pain caused him to scream miserably. This time he was completely afraid. He had followed Wang Lin for many years and knew how cruel Wang Lin was. He didn't call Wang Lin fiend for nothing. Master, Master. I have accomplished great deeds for Master. I have shed blood for Master. Master, do you still remember the giant demon clan ancestor on planet Suzaku? Does Master remember? Shuligua screamed and listed almost everything he had done for Wang Lin. He was afraid that if he was late, he would not have a chance of speaking again. If it wasn't for all of that, that point wouldn't have just wasted 30% your cultivation, it'd have killed you. Wang Lin's eyes were cold. He had vowed to be kind to this madman, yet Shuligua had dared to go against his command. It was as he said, if not for the fact that Shuligua had followed him for so long, Wang Lin would have already killed Shuligua. His gaze swept toward Liu Jinbiao, who was kowtowing non-stop, and there was a flash of killing intent. The world can easily change, but one's personality is difficult to change. Liu Jinbiao, you disappoint me. You achieved great merits at the Fire Sparrow clan and I promised to let you go. I plan to give you a great fortune as a gift for taking care of him. Wang Lin's voice was cold as he spoke. His voice was like a cold wind that filled the area. Liu Jinbiao's body trembled and he kowtowed even faster, smashing his forehead on the ground. Looking at Liu Jinbiao, Wang Lin pointed forward and a gust of wind landed on Liu Jinbiao's body. Liu Jinbiao trembled and coughed out blood before being knocked back a few dozen feet. You have made a great achievement, that is still there, but I won't give you that great fortune. You can forget about being free, you will be my slave for 1,000 years. When he heard Wang Lin's words, Liu Jinbiao revealed a bitter smile, but he let out a big breath of relief in his heart. He could accept this punishment. Lord of the Sealed Realm. You're the Lord of the Sealed Realm. Fan Huazi excitedly called out. He wasn't sure before, but when he heard Wang Lin talk about planet Suzaku and the Fire Sparrow clan, he was certain. He excitedly walked toward Wang Lin and bowed. When he spoke, the surrounding cultivators were filled with disbelief and excitement filled their bodies. They all clasped their hands and bowed. Greetings, Lord of the Sealed Realm. The female cultivator was startled for a moment before clasping her hands like everyone else. She trusted Fan Huazi's words. Only the Lord of the Sealed Realm could give off such a terrifying pressure. Wang Lin's gaze was still the same as he looked at the young man in black and slowly said, You have seen me before. The young man was extremely excited. He quickly walked up and respectfully said, Junior lived in All Heaven for a period of time and was there in the first battle at the Cloud Sea. Junior was among the All Heaven army and saw the Lord of the Sealed Realm from a distance. Also, Junior received the jade from the Cloud Sea, so I had a vague idea of your appearance. After he spoke, he looked at the madman behind Wang Lin and looked ashamed. He wanted to explain something, but in the end he found it difficult to say. Wang Lin silently pondered and coldly looked at the cultivators inside the cave. His gaze brought a large amount of pressure on these cultivators. They all lowered their heads, ashamed, and didn't dare to speak. This matter, don't repeat it. A moment later, Wang Lin waved his sleeve. He took Shuligwa, Liu Jinbia, and the madman into the ripple and they all disappeared. Only after he was gone did the cultivators in the cave dare to look up. Their backs were soaked in cold sweat and they looked at each other, their hearts beating rapidly. "See, Nisi, this is your doing. If you didn't force me, we wouldn't be looked down upon by the Lord of the Sealed Realm. You. Alas! I'm also to blame for becoming greedy because of Shuligwa's words. To actually do such a thing to deceive a madman." Fan Huazi looked extremely ashamed as he looked at where Wang Lin disappeared to. Wang Lin was someone he respected, and he had dreamt of meeting the Lord of the Sealed Realm. However, he never actually dreamt that it would come true under such circumstances. The female cultivator also felt ashamed and gnashed her teeth. It's all that Shuligwa's fault. That man. If I meet him again, I'll definitely make him pay for this matter. Among the stars, Wang Lin slowly walked forward. Liu Jinbiao and Shuligwa were stored inside his storage space. Most of the golden blood they had obtained was taken by Wang Lin. The madman still looked wronged and chattered non-stop behind Wang Lin. This matter had left a profound impression on the madman. The human heart is sinister, the human heart is sinister, Also, spirit stones and silver are very important, very important. In the future, if I get spirit stones or silver, I must use them carefully and not careless spend them. Can't carelessly spend them at all. Can't careless spend them. Even Wang Lin didn't expect that this experience would change the madman's personality a bit. Once he had spirit stones and silver, his stinginess could shock anyone. Listening to the madman chattering behind him, Wang Lin gradually calmed down. He looked back at the madman. Especially given the chatter, this madman really looked like a certain person. A person he only met once in the outer realm and had almost completely forgotten. Wang Lin shook his head and smiled. He felt like his thoughts were a bit absurd. He no longer thought about this and slowly walked toward planet Suzaku. The starry sky was calm like the dark ocean that was sleeping without any wind or waves. The sparkling stars were like the eyes of mothers that would make one feel extra homesick. When one no longer had any close relatives, those sparkling eyes would become blurry. A sense of sadness would surge from the body of your heart and become a sigh. Cultivators were also people. They also had emotions and memories they couldn't give up. They bullied me, their punishment was too light. I want you to turn that Shuligwa into a little piggy, no, wait, into a leaf. Then let me stomp him to death. Liu Jinbia too, he actually dared to deceive me. HMPH, those who deceive this king will have miserable ends. Your punishment of turning him into a slave for 1,000 years is too light. You should also turn him into a leaf so I can stomp him to death. The madman followed Wang Lin and continued to talk non-stop until it became a buzz around Wang Lin's ears. Seeing that Wang Lin was staring into the distance and not paying attention to him at all, the madman gave up roaring at Wang Lin. Instead, he began to circle Wang Lin and roar at the same time. It seemed as if he wasn't going to give up until Wang Lin listened to him. Wang Lin silently walked forward. He was getting closer and closer to planet Suzaku. Even with his eyes closed, he could find planet Suzaku in the brilliant void. Some of it might be due to his spells, but, more importantly, there was something there that made his soul sad. The madman's chatter became even more intense and didn't stop at all. He didn't feel tired and continued to circle Wang Lin and roar. Turn them into leaves, I'm going to stomp. Enough. After the madman had circled him thousands of times, Wang Lin's thoughts were interrupted. Wang Lin raised his right hand and caused the madman to stop before him. Wang Lin looked at the madman and slowly said, "Be quiet for a bit." The madman was caught by Wang Lin and stared at Wang Lin as he roared, "Turn them into leaves." Wang Lin frowned. "I don't care, you have to turn them into leaves, into leaves, into leaves." The madman didn't care and constantly growled. He was like a child that wanted a toy from his parents. Wang Lin's voice was calm as slowly said, "You actually had long seen through their plan and scam." This king didn't see through them. The madman was startled for a moment and his eyes turned, shaking his head. He shook his head like a mortal child playing with a rattle drum. Wang Lin meaningfully looked at the madman and loosened his grip as he walked forward. The blood you gave Shuligua and Liu Jinbia was useless. All that blood, even after being refined, wouldn't match half a drop of your real blood. They were cheating you and you were also cheating them. Do you still want to play this kind of trick before me? I, Wang Lin, have already dealt justice. The punishment they suffered is enough, don't mention it anymore. Wang Lin turned away from the madman and his words slowly echoed. The madman winked, then his face turned red and he giggled. A moment later, he said, how can this wise king be deceived by them? However, that Shuligua and Liu Jinbia really do have the ability to deceive this king. HMPH, they're too evil, good thing this king understands how precious his blood is. Back then, that who? The madman kept muttering, then he saw Wang Lin walk away and quickly followed. His voice slowly weakened. After following Wang Lin for a bit, he looked at Wang Lin with a puzzled expression. Once more, he felt the feeling he got from Wang Lin when they first left the nether beast. Wang Lin was silent the entire way and didn't speak a word. Soon, a planet filled with rich spiritual energy, to the point that it was in a radiant state, appeared before him. This planet wasn't big, it could be considered a small planet. However, when Wang Lin saw this planet, his body trembled and he stopped. He silently looked at the planet, looked at the hometown that was engraved in his mind. Soon, lots of faces appeared before his yes. Those familiar people formed his life on planet Suzaku. The melancholy on his face became even stronger. Things remain the same, but people change is a phrase used to describe time. However, for Wang Lin, even these eternal things seemed to change. He stared stunned at planet Suzaku. There was a powerful formation around the planet that surrounded the area and was constantly active. It formed a ripple that spread across the star system. Wang Lin remembered that this formation didn't exist when he left. From his view, this formation was fairly new and only been up for a few decades. After a long time, Wang Lin let out a sigh and slowly walked forward. The madman followed Wang Lin and looked curiously at planet Suzaku. As the two moved forward, several rays of light flew toward planet Suzaku. There were 4 cultivators in total, 3 male, 1 female, 3 young, 1 old. Their faces were filled with respect as if they were on a pilgrimage. They flew past Wang Lin and the madman toward the formation around planet Suzaku. When the 4 rays of light got close to the formation, the old man said with a dignified tone, "This is planet Suzaku, the Lord of the Sealed Realm's hometown. Remember not to cause any trouble after entering planet Suzaku. This is the holy land of the brilliant void, or even the inner realm. A large amount of old monsters live here to protect the planet for the Lord of the Sealed Realm." The old man looked toward the 3 younger cultivators behind him and they quickly nodded. The respect on their faces became even stronger as they looked at planet Suzaku. Wang Lin slowly arrived outside the formation around planet Suzaku. He was several thousand feet from those 4 cultivators. As he looked at planet Suzaku, he became even more emotional. The madman was very lonely along the way and couldn't help but miss Shuligua and Liu Jinbia. He began to mutter secretly in his heart. Actually, those 2 fellows were not bad to his king. As he muttered, his gaze caught the 4 people several thousands of feet away and his eyes lit up. "Ha ha, 3 little girls, tell this king your name. This king will reward you." The madman's eyes lit up and he waved his hand. He immediately began calling out to those 4 cultivators. His words were abrupt, and the 4 cultivators were startled for a moment. The female cultivator subconsciously looked back thinking there would be more cultivators coming from the distance. The madman excitedly roared, "What are you looking back for? This king isn't talking about you, I'm talking to the 3 little girls behind you. Little girls, what are your names?" After he spoke, aside from the old man, the expressions of the 2 young men changed. He coldly stared at the madman and was about to speak. The old man frowned and lifted his hands to stop his disciples. He wasn't looking at the madman but at Wang Lin, who was still looking at planet Suzaku with reminiscence in his eyes. Fellow cultivator, I presume you also came on a pilgrimage to the hometown of the Lord of the Sealed Realm. The Lord of the Sealed Realm's hometown is a holy land. I hope you restrain your companion and refrain from causing problems. After the old man finished speaking, he no longer looked at Wang Lin. Instead, he waved his sleeves and he and his 3 disciples stepped toward the formation. The 3 disciples all stared viciously at the madman. In particular, the 2 young men were extremely angry. The madman pursed his lips and revealed a look of grievance as he muttered, "If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Why stare at this king like that? This king was only asking for their names." Wang Lin's expression was neutral and he patted the madman's shoulder. He didn't directly enter planet Suzaku but entered through the formation. Since he was coming home, he was going to enter through the front gate. What kind of logic was it to avoid it? The old man leading his 3 disciples in front entered the formation. At this moment, 2 people appeared. They were old men, but they were phantoms. Their eyes were like lightning as they calmly looked at everyone that had entered the formation. This old man is Master Virtue from the Summoned Rivers planet Ming Mai. I'm bringing my 3 disciples to come here on a pilgrimage. I hope the Holy Guardians can let us in. The old man's expression was serious as he clasped his hands at the 2 phantoms. One of the 2 phantom figures said, "Planet Suzaku is open to all cultivators of the inner realm. Do you know the rules?" "We know. We can't take anything from planet Suzaku, we can't destroy anything on planet Suzaku, we can only stay on planet Suzaku for 3 days." The old man nodded. After hearing this, the 2 phantom figures formed seals and waved their hands. The formation light spread and a stairway through the clouds appeared before them. The stairway connected to planet Suzaku. The old man clasped his hands and took his 3 disciples on the stairway. They slowly walked down the stairs. Wang Lin took the madman and calmly stepped onto the stairs. They also walked toward planet Suzaku. The 2 phantom figures didn't stop but coldly looked at Wang Lin and the madman. After they disappeared, one of the phantom figures frowned. "I feel like that person is a bit familiar, as if I have seen him somewhere before." "Eh, you feel the same way too?" "I feel this as well, but I can't remember where I've seen this cultivator in white before." The 2 people pondered for a bit before they disappeared while shaking their heads. The formation around planet Suzaku gradually calmed down until the light disappeared. Planet Suzaku appeared before Wang Lin as he walked down the stairs. The end of the staircase was connected to the highest mountain on planet Suzaku. It was like a stairway to the heavens. This video will end here.